Welcome back to the Grim Workshop. Today we're going to be making a fishing lure using the Jordan Jonas version 2 signature card. The Jordan Jonas version 2 signature card is loaded with ways to help you gather food out the wild. We've got a netting needle here. We've got a Paiute deadfall trap. I've got fishing hooks. I've got a lure here that we're going to be using to make a spoon with in another video. And down here at the bottom, this is a spinner blade. We're going to be using that spinner blade, a little bit of trapping wire, and a multi-tool to make an improvised inline spinner. I enjoy making my own fishing lures, and I've been making spinners for quite a while now. There's a lot of different options with these. You can change the blade shape, the blade type, the blade color. On the body of the spinner, you can add weights. You can change the color of the beads to match the fishing conditions. You can go barbless, you can change the hook size, a lot of different options. When I do this at home, I have a specialty tool that does this. It wraps the wire for me. In the field, you're not going to have access to that. I could do a pretty good job with just a regular multi-tool. When I'm making lures at home, I use a leader wire, and that does a great job. It's really hard to work with. It makes a really durable lure when you're done with it, but you have the right tools for this. It's more likely that you're going to have access to some snare wire if you're lucky. I've got this brass picture wire snare. This is regular baling wire, so this may be something that you could find in an abandoned building alongside a fence row. If you had a regular trapper kit with you, you've probably got some baling wire as well. You can use that to make a fishing lure. Probably my favorite is stainless steel wire. So this is 032 on top and 042 on the bottom. So the thicker wire obviously is going to be a little stronger, but it doesn't work as well for snaring small game. So I usually carry the smaller wire, and that's what we're going to be using today to make our spinner. If you don't have access to the same materials I do, you can improvise this. This is copper wire here. This is a solid strand 18 gauge copper with a copper spinner blade. And this top one here, this is just regular baling wire. That's a 14 gauge standard baling wire. You can make good usable lures with any of the material that I'm going to show you. So let's grab the spinner and a hook and we'll get started. So if you don't have a multi-tool, the Jamie Burley card's got a bending jig on it. So that's going to help you get some of these bends. I carry a multi-tool, so I'm going to use it. And the first thing I do is I've got about 6 inches cut off, and I'm just going to bend the U. Now I'm going to place the hook over the wire. So now I'm going to grab this tail, and I'm just going to turn it a little bit more. I'm looking for as round a loop as possible. Now I'm going to grab it, start to roll this. So once I've got that first section rolled, I'm able to use my pliers and just continue that bend. So if you can get that tail to lay down, that's all the better. If not, it's not that big a deal. So here's where we're at so far. So here's one of my commercial spinners. And you can see we can't just put the spinner blade directly on the wire. It's just going to go back and get tangled up with the hook and not really spin. So we need to build it up. We need to build it away from the hook. And a plastic bead like this gives us a bearing surface, so it's going to let it slip. This is the cash patch, and this is the one that was directly on my hat. And you can see what I carry in mine. I've got this set up with different fishing items. So I've got beads, I've got snare wire that I can make lures with. I've got swivels, I've got split rings. I've got one set up for more fly tying material. So this is a pretty good way that I've found to carry items that really don't fit on cards. This is not something that's going to be convenient to carry, but if you put it on a patch ahead of time, you really wouldn't know it's there. If you did not have the forethought to place some beads on some wire and put that in a cache patch, I've got another option for you. So one natural thing that you're likely to find if you did not have the forethought to pack any beads would be a piece of bone here. So you can use your multi-tool, or most of the cards have some type of file or saw on them. And this does a couple things. When I slide this down, this gives our spinner our spacing it needs. So now the spinner is not directly on top of the hook. And it's also a pretty decent bearing surface as well. So when I put that spinner down on top of here, as long as you've got a good cut on that bone, you've got a pretty good spinner action. So if you did have the forethought to put a couple beads on, they're not going to take up any space, especially if you put it in a cache cap like that. And then look at our spinner action. Much, much better. So now to put our top loop on, I'm going to give myself about a thumb distance. You don't want to put this too close to the end here. Now I'm just going to grab this. I'm going to roll it all the way down. So now I've got a long tail sticking out here, so I'm going to grab and hold on to my loop. I'm going to use the leverage that I've got with this wire. I'm going to bend it around a couple times. And I'm going to cut it free. So the little tab that's sticking up there, I want to do something with this. So I'm going to go ahead and try to flatten it out best I can. So let me fix our loop here, and there we go. There we have a functional fishing lure using components that you can find in the wild. You can pull off a survival card, or you can pull out of a cache cap. So the one on our right here I made with a set of bending pliers. So that was made at home on a bench. And for something that uses a lighter gauge snare wire using a multi-tool, that'll still catch fish. So that's not too bad at all. We made a functional fishing lure using something that we can carry in our wallet and material that you can carry behind a patch, either off your hat, off your shirt, on the back of a backpack. You're going to be a lot better off with a lure like this than you would be if you only had a hook. Now you're forced to dig for live bait. This is a really big upgrade and a game changer when you're out in the woods. There's a lot of different ways to accomplish the same task, and if you're carrying these tools anyway, you might as well learn all the different options that's in front of you. So if you were to find a trash resource, or if you were to find a natural resource like a bone, you can instantly know what you're going to do with that. You can grab a little bit of snare wire out of your kit, you can grab a card out of your wallet, and you can make a spinner.